Hey guys, we do have a little bit of notes today, and I wanted to at least introduce to you guys today the final founding documents, if you will, of American literature. The documents that, again, were incredibly influential in the development of our country, and and I guess the direction that we took as our first steps as an independent country. So we're going to do this is going to be the part one recording, and then I'll also post the part two recording tomorrow when we talk about the Articles of Confederation. Or it could be on Thursday as well. I haven't really decided yet, but this is just the part one over the Declaration of Independence. And I did want to go through these notes with you on Google Classroom. You have the final founding documents guided notes, that Google Doc that you guys are going to be filling out as you watch this screencast. So make sure you guys are staying engaged. This won't take long, I promise. I won't drone on and on and on, but you should be filling in some things as I'm talking and going through these slides with you. Okay, let me actually try to, let me do this, present. Okay. All right. So really, we're talking today about the Declaration of Independence, right? The probably single most influential, best written piece of American literature ever, I guess, written by Thomas Jefferson, but is also, he was helped by lots of other delegates at the Constitutional Convention, okay? The Second Continental Congress, so really this document came into play, again, this was after Thomas Paine had written his pamphlet, Common Sense, and people were starting to get very, very serious about the resolution for independence, for a movement toward independence, right? So there was a Second Continental Congress gathered in Philadelphia in May in 1775, and really by this time, a lot of the colonies were pretty much on board with trying to go to war with Great Britain over independence, because again, this is kind of after the Boston Massacre. After the Boston Tea Party, they're tired of all the taxes. They're tired of the way Britain is mistreating them, and really things are only getting worse. So by 1775 and 1776, people are kind of sick of it. So there was a resolution for independence that was proposed in June of 1776, and then during that month after that, that's when that Declaration of Independence was officially really being drafted and written. It wasn't really submitted until July 4th of 1776. But obviously, before writing that, they had to organize a committee to explain why independence was necessary. So if we were going to go to war, we wanted to justify to the world why we were going to war. Okay, the Continental Congress selected a committee to write it. Jefferson was the head of that committee, but he was helped by other people. He didn't just write this thing all on his own. And then, obviously, it was sent to the king to declare independence on July 4th, 1776. We declared independence on that day, but honestly, we still had a war to win if we were truly to declare independence. So that is important to note, that we really didn't, I guess, officially win our independence until 1781, 1782, when the war was officially over. So moving on to the document itself. The document itself that you'll look at today is actually divided up into four parts, and I've kind of broken these notes down into different parts and explaining what each part's about. But there is a preamble, which a preamble simply means an introduction. Okay, so it is the very first paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, and it explains why the Declaration was written. And it's essentially saying, like, we're writing this document because we want to get away from you guys, right? And you'll see some of the words that he uses, but you guys probably are more familiar with the preamble to the Constitution, but this document also has a preamble as well. Okay, they wanted to be free and independent states. That's essentially what it says in that first part there. It's the very first paragraph of the document. Part two is where we start to see a lot of John Locke's ideas embedded deeply into this document. So Thomas Jefferson, who really was a big scholar of John Locke, which is kind of ironic because John Locke was British, and we're using a British guy's ideas against the British, which is kind of funny. But anyway, part two talks about what good government looks like, right? It's a declaration of natural rights, right? Everyone's created equal, and the government's job, unlike what Great Britain is doing, the government's job is to create and protect not create, but to protect people's natural rights that they are endowed with by their creator, which is God, right? The governments are formed to protect the rights of people, and the government should always get its power from the consent of the people, which obviously Great Britain wasn't doing, especially to the colonists. People have a right and a duty to overthrow an unjust government, and again, he is literally throwing this British philosopher's words right back into the British people's faces and saying, look, even your British philosopher said these things. We have the right to overthrow an unjust government. And that's essentially what you guys are being to us. And when you read through the Declaration of Independence today, you will see a lot of Locke's ideas embedded into this section, which is after the preamble. Part 3 is essentially all the grievances, all the reasons we're leaving. Okay, so if you want to think of this document as a breakup letter to your boyfriend or girlfriend, this would be the part of the letter where you start to explain all the things you don't like about your boyfriend or girlfriend. And basically, we have, I think, over 27 grievances listed in this document because we wanted to really justify why we're actually going to be going to war against them, why we wanted to declare independence. The world needed to know a lot of reasons why we are breaking away, why we're starting this war that could potentially involve lots of other major world powers, and how it could potentially change the way Britain treats other countries in the world. So we had to put a lot of grievances on there. And those are just some of the grievances there listed on the slide. But you'll see the more grievances when you do the read through today. And then part 4 is the resolution of independence. It basically says, because of all these terrible things you've done to us, we've tried working it out. We've tried being diplomatic, but you're just not listening. Therefore, we are declaring ourselves free and independent from Great Britain. And then you have all the signatories down at the bottom. One of the most famous being John Hancock because it's the biggest, but there's lots of other really famous people, big founding fathers there at the bottom who have signed on as well, which was actually pretty dangerous at that time because if they were caught, they probably would have been hanged and killed. But it took a very bold and courageous move to be a signatory on this document. And there you go. That is part 1 of this kind of mini lecture series over the Declaration of Independence, one of the most influential American documents ever.